Welcome back to Tech Talk and welcome to my new studio. Now, Microsoft has just started rolling out the July update for Windows 11 and it's on the Windows Insider program right now. And it's a big update because this is the one that's going to become Windows 11 version 26H2 later on this year. Now that update's going to be rolling out to everybody in the fall, but I'm going to be giving you a preview of some of the features right now so you know what's coming down the pipe in terms of Windows and what it's offering you. Now, let's face it, the last few annual updates from Microsoft have had some issues that, well, it caused some serious headaches for a lot of people. But for this update, Microsoft says, and I'm quoting here, Windows 11 version 26H2 continues our focus on delivering a predictable, low disruption update experience for organizations and IT professionals. Now, it's going to take a little bit of time before we really see if that's true or not. We're going to have to wait and find out. But that said, even for average users, there are a few genuinely useful changes in this update package. And there's one setting that's going to be turned on by default that might catch some of you off guard. You should probably know about it. So let's go through exactly what's changing and what it actually means for you. That's coming up right now, right here on Tech Talk. Now let's get started with the one thing that I think matters the most. And that is, with this update, Windows will now have a new recovery feature called Point-in-Time Restore. Think of it like a save point for your entire PC. What it does is it automatically creates restore points that include your settings, your files, and your applications. That's a big step up from the old System Restore feature, which really only saved system files. Now this is turned on by default in both the Home and Pro editions of Windows once this 26H2 update rolls out to you. There is one catch though. Your PC needs at least 200 gigabytes of free storage for it to work. So if your drive's nearly full, this feature won't kick in until you free up a little bit of space. But if you've got the room, this is genuinely one of the best safety nets Windows has added in years. Now, I want to be clear about what this is. It's not a long-term backup strategy, but it's a short-term kind of fallback that lets you restore your PC to a previous state before you had that big crash, that big ransomware attack, or an accidental drive deletion. Now, to adjust how this safety feature works, just go to Settings, System, Recovery, Point-in-Time Restore. There you can adjust how often system snapshots are taken and how long they're retained. Now the next feature that's rolling out is something that a lot of you have been asking for, maybe not out loud, but you've probably been asking for it at least with your inside voice. And that feature is you can now pause Windows updates indefinitely. See, before you were stuck with just a 5-week cap where you could pause those updates. And then after that 5 weeks, Windows would go ahead and update whether you liked it or not. You really didn't have a choice. But now there's a calendar-based control that lets you pause updates for as long as you want. Now initially when you go in, you can delay updates for up to 35 days. But here's the thing, after that 35 days, you can manually extend it again as many times as you like. So technically, you can extend Windows updates, you can pause them indefinitely. You'll find that feature under Settings, then Windows Update. Now, if you're the type who just wants your computer to work without being nagged, that feature is going to be perfect for you. Now, the next feature to cover is one that's quiet and you're not really going to see it in action, but it's really important, and it's called Administrator Protection. And here's how it works. When something on your PC needs administrator rights to happen, what Windows is going to do now is create a temporary elevated account. It completes the task that requires that authorization, and then the account is automatically deleted. So what Microsoft here is doing is they're closing a door that malware often likes to use to install itself on a PC. Like I said, you won't notice it running, but it's working in the background to make it harder for bad actors and bad software to gain permanent control of your system. So that's obviously a good thing. Now there is another security change that Microsoft is rolling out as well, and it's called Windows 11 Cloud Rebuild. If your PC becomes hacked, corrupted, a drive dies, or for any other reason you can't start your PC, you can now do a brand new, fresh install of Windows right from the web. You don't need to have a functioning recovery partition, and you don't need any USB install media. All you need to do is boot into the Windows recovery environment, select Troubleshoot, Cloud Rebuild. From there, you can install a fresh copy of Windows 11 along with all of your necessary device drivers right from Microsoft servers. Now, this is a huge improvement over the previous Windows recovery experience, and honestly, I'm not sure why Microsoft didn't do this a long time ago, because it makes so much sense. Now, another big change in terms of how Windows looks is the ability to have the taskbar now at the bottom, the top, the left, or the right side of your screen. And you can choose to have either the default size of the taskbar, or you can have a shrunk down version that frees up a little bit of screen space. Now, while this feature is available on the preview version of 26H2, Microsoft says it's still in development. So I guess that means we'll have to wait and see if that feature is in place on the final version of this update when it's released in the fall. I'm not really clear if that's going to make the rollout or not. Now, assuming they make it to the final release, you can access these options by going to Settings, Personalization, Taskbar, then Taskbar Behaviors. Now, sticking to the changes with way Microsoft Windows looks, and perhaps a bit more on the lighter side of things, there's now an emoji utility that you can put right on the right-hand side of your taskbar. Anytime you need to insert one of these emojis or a GIF into a text or email, you can access them all right here in the lower right corner of your screen. Now, if you like to use emojis and GIFs a whole lot, I suppose this is going to be a really helpful feature for you. To turn it on, just go to Settings, Personalization, Taskbar, Emoji and More, and then select if you want that Emoji Tool to be shown always, never, or just while typing. Now, so far, everything we've talked about in this Windows update, that's 26H2, it's been pretty much good news, right? It's mostly stuff that's useful or a little bit fun or ups the security of Windows. But there is one change coming on this update that's going to be turned on by default, and I want to make sure you know about it before it catches you off guard. See, starting with this update, Windows is going to install printers, whether local or on your network, using its own built-in system called Windows Ready Print. And it's going to be doing that by default instead of using the printer manufacturer's drivers. Now, Windows Ready Print, if you're not familiar with it, is built on the Internet Printing Protocol, or IPP. And to be honest, for a lot of people, it's going to work just fine. They're not going to really notice anything different. But if you've got an older printer that isn't IPP compatible, or a more specialized one, or you just prefer the way a third-party driver functions, this could cause some challenges for you. Now, the good news is it's easy to turn this feature off if it gives you trouble or you just prefer not to use it. All you're going to need to do is go to Settings, then Bluetooth and Devices, then Printers and Scanners, and from there turn off the option called Default Install Printer using Windows Ready Print. Now, if your printing suddenly looks or behaves differently than you expected after this update, that setting is the first place to check to see if there's something amiss. So I guess the bottom line is, should you go ahead and install this update yourself as soon as it's available? Well, honestly, I think so. There's nothing in here that's particularly risky or earth-shattering or going to throw you off. And the new safety net alone, with the point-in-time restore and the ability to reinstall Windows directly from the cloud, I think that makes it a worthwhile update all by itself. Now, make sure you do keep an eye on that printer setting I told you about. If you've got an older or a unique printer and you're really picky about the way it works, you want to make sure that doesn't mess things up for you, and you want to make sure you know how to turn off the new printer installation feature if you need to. Now, keep in mind that as it stands right now, this update is an experimental pre-release in the dev channel. It's not meant for regular use and is not considered a stable final version. So for your everyday PC with all of your important data on it, wait until Windows 11 26H2 is officially released in the fall. Hopefully by that time, Microsoft will have worked all the bugs out. So then that's it for my preview on what's in store with Windows 11 26H2. If this helped you to understand what's actually changing on your PC, make sure you give the video a like and subscribe for more of these helpful types of videos. And I'd like to hear from you in the comments as well. What do you think? Which of these changes matters most to you? Or are you looking at this and saying, I don't care about any of these, this is a huge nothing burger? Because that's okay too. Let me know in the comments down below. I'd like to sincerely thank you for watching. Again, I'm Graham Hughes. This is Tech Talk. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.